Google just turned 27, and it's hard to imagine life without it. That iconic search bar has become our gateway to the world's information. But Google wasn't always a tech giant. It started as a university project. The journey from a Stanford research idea to a global powerhouse is full of pivotal moments. We're about to rewind and explore how two students changed the way we access information forever. For Google's anniversary, let's dive into the details that shaped its rise. This is the real story behind the world's most influential search engine. Before Google became a household name, there was Backrub, a quirky title that, despite what you might think, had absolutely nothing to do with massages or relaxation. Instead, it hinted at the way the system crawled the web's backlinks, quietly laying the groundwork for a revolution in how we find information online. The story begins in 1996 at Stanford University, where two ambitious graduate students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, set out to tackle the wild, uncharted territory of the early web. The internet was exploding with new sites, but finding anything useful was like searching for a needle in a digital haystack. Back then, search engines were primitive. They simply counted how many times a keyword appeared on a page, often returning a mess of irrelevant results. The web was growing, but the tools to navigate it just weren't keeping up. Larry and Sergey saw an opportunity. Instead of just counting words, what if you could measure a page's true importance by looking at how many other pages linked to it? It was a simple idea, but it would change everything. Their breakthrough was the PageRank algorithm. It treated links like academic citations, a vote of confidence from one page to another. The more links a page had, especially from other important pages, the higher it would rank. Backrub began crawling Stanford's servers, mapping the web's connections and quickly outpacing other search engines in relevance and accuracy. It was a project that started small but grew at an astonishing rate. Word spread rapidly across campus. Students and faculty alike were amazed by Backrub's smarter, more relevant results. It became the go-to tool for anyone at Stanford who needed to find information fast. But as Backrub's popularity soared, it started to strain Stanford's network. The servers were overloaded, and the university's bandwidth was being devoured by this ambitious project. It was clear that Backrub had outgrown its academic roots. Larry and Sergey tried to license their technology to established internet giants like Yahoo and Excite. But the big players didn't see the potential. They passed on the opportunity, unable to imagine just how transformative this new approach could be. Undeterred, the duo decided to take matters into their own hands. If no one else would run with their idea, they would build a company themselves, starting from scratch. But first, they needed a new name. Backrub was clever, but it didn't capture their vision. Inspired by the mathematical term Google, a 1 followed by 100 zeros, they settled on Google, a name that reflected their mission to organize the world's seemingly infinite information. The PageRank algorithm became their secret sauce, mapping the web's authority and trust in a way no one had done before. It was the engine that powered their new search tool. This wasn't just another search engine. It was a revolution in how people could access and discover information, making the web more useful and accessible for everyone. The transition from Backrub to Google marked a pivotal shift, from a university research project to a bold entrepreneurial venture. Larry and Sergey were no longer just students, they were founders on a mission. In 1997, they registered Google.com, officially launching their journey to take on the world and redefine how we search for information. Their focus was clear: create a clean, fast, and user-first search experience, something radically different from the cluttered, ad-heavy portals that dominated the web at the time. The legacy of Backrub was more than just a clever algorithm. It was a new way to navigate the web, a foundation that would support everything Google would become in the years ahead. But to turn their vision into reality, Larry and Sergey needed more than just a great idea. They needed a real home for their company and the funding to make it all possible. The days of running Backrub on borrowed university servers were over. It was time to pack up, move out, and build something bigger than they'd ever imagined. The insight from analyzing backlinks, understanding the web as a living, interconnected network, set Google apart and would power its explosive growth in the years to come. With a new name, a proven idea, and a relentless drive, Larry and Sergey were ready to take the next step and change the world. The Backrub project was the blueprint, the prototype that would evolve into something far greater. Google was poised to become an empire, built on the lessons and innovations of its humble beginnings. Next stop, a modest garage in Menlo Park, where the next chapter of the Google story and the future of the internet was about to begin. With a new name and big ambitions, Larry Page and Sergey Brin needed a headquarters, a place where their vision for organizing the world's information could take root. They were no longer just Stanford students with a side project. They were founders on the verge of something big, searching for a space that could become the launchpad for their dreams. In 1998, they made a bold move. Leaving the comfort of Stanford's campus, they set up shop in a modest Menlo Park garage, rented from Susan Wojcicki, who would soon play a pivotal role in their story. This unassuming suburban garage would become the unlikely birthplace of a tech revolution. The space was humble, cluttered with boxes, carpeted in bright blue, and shared with laundry machines that rumbled in the background. It was far from glamorous, but it was all they needed: a roof, some power outlets, and enough room for a few desks and computers. Yet, within these cramped walls, history was made. On September 4, 1998, Google Inc. was officially incorporated. The paperwork was signed, and the company was born, not in a gleaming office tower, but in a garage that would soon become legendary. The garage wasn't just an office, it was the beating heart of Google's early culture. Here, Larry, Sergey, and their tiny team worked side by side, fueled by caffeine, curiosity, and a shared sense of purpose. Long hours blurred into late nights as the team tackled technical challenges and brainstormed new ideas. Every day brought hands-on problem-solving, relentless debugging, and a focus on building the world's best search engine, one line of code at a time. Susan Wojcicki, their landlord, quickly became more than just a host. She joined as Google's first marketing manager, helping the fledgling company reach new users and spread the word. Years later, she would go on to lead YouTube as its CEO, but her journey with Google began right here, in her own garage. The team soon expanded, hiring their very first employee, Craig Silverstein. Together, they handled a surge in users, responding to emails, fixing bugs, and keeping the servers running, often improvising solutions with whatever tools and parts they could find. Menlo Park's location put them right in the heart of Silicon Valley, surrounded by the energy, innovation, and opportunity that defined the tech world. The proximity to Stanford and other startups created a unique environment where ideas could flourish and connections could be made. The garage period was short, but absolutely crucial. In just a few months, the team laid the groundwork for Google's culture and explosive growth, setting the tone for everything that would follow. That garage came to symbolize scrappiness, innovation, and the belief that world-changing ideas can start in the most unlikely places. It was a reminder that you don't need fancy offices to build something extraordinary. Just vision, grit, and a willingness to get your hands dirty. Google's now famous culture, collaborative, casual, and engineering-driven, was born here. The team brainstormed around makeshift desks, shared ideas over quick meals, and built a company where creativity and experimentation were encouraged. The garage was chaotic, but incredibly productive. Servers were stacked on shelves, whiteboards overflowed with equations and notes, and every inch of space was put to use. It was a place where big dreams met real-world challenges. Larry and Sergey were in the trenches, coding late into the night, fixing hardware themselves, and constantly pushing the limits of what their search engine could do. Their single-minded goal was clear: to build the world's best search engine no matter how many obstacles stood in their way. The garage became an icon of Silicon Valley's startup spirit, so much so that Google later bought the house to preserve its history, ensuring that future generations could see where it all began. From this modest launchpad, Google was ready for its next leap: real funding, a bigger team, and a future that would change the world. The next chapter would change everything, but it all started in a simple garage, where vision, hard work, and a bit of luck set Google on its path to greatness. Google had a product and a garage, but they needed money to grow. The founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, were brilliant computer scientists, but they were not yet seasoned entrepreneurs. They had a vision for a revolutionary search engine, but visions alone don't pay the bills or buy the servers needed to run a global service. Enter Andy Bechtolsheim, co-founder of Sun Microsystems and a legendary Silicon Valley investor. Known for his keen eye for innovation and his willingness to take risks, Bechtolsheim had a reputation for backing winners. His involvement in a project was often seen as a golden seal of approval. In August 1998, Larry and Sergey demoed Google's search to him on a Palo Alto porch. They were nervous but hopeful, knowing that this meeting could change everything. They showcased the speed and accuracy of their search engine, hoping to impress Bechtolsheim with their technical prowess and the potential of their idea. Bechtolsheim saw the potential instantly and wrote a $100,000 check to Google Inc. before the company even legally existed. This act of faith was not just about the money, it was a powerful endorsement of Larry and Sergey's vision and capabilities. That check sat in a drawer until Google was officially incorporated. It was a tangible promise of what could be, waiting for the legalities to catch up with the dream. This investment was more than cash. It was validation from a tech heavyweight. It signaled to the world that Google was a serious contender in the tech space, worthy of attention and further investment. Bechtolsheim's backing opened doors, attracting other early investors like Jeff Bezos and Stanford professor David Cheriton. These connections were invaluable, providing not just additional funds but also strategic advice and credibility. The initial seed round grew to about $1 million, giving Google the runway to hire, buy servers, and scale. This influx of capital allowed them to move out of the garage and into a proper office, setting the stage for rapid growth. The speed of Bechtolsheim's decision showed the power of a great demo and a clear vision. It underscored the importance of being able to communicate your idea effectively and passionately. Networking mattered. Without their Stanford connection, this meeting might never have happened. The academic environment had provided not just the technical skills, but also the crucial connections that would propel Google forward. The $100,000 check was the spark that ignited Google's rocket ship. It was the catalyst that transformed a promising project into a burgeoning company with the potential to change the world. It forced Larry and Sergey to move fast, incorporate, and turn their project into a real company. This urgency was a blessing in disguise, pushing them to formalize their operations and set the foundation for future success. With funding secured, Google could finally focus on building for the future. They hired top talent, invested in infrastructure, and began to scale their operations, all while staying true to their mission of organizing the world's information. This was the end of Google's prehistory and the start of its rise as a tech powerhouse. The company was now on a trajectory that would see it become one of the most influential entities in the world. The story is a Silicon Valley classic: right place, right time, right idea. It's a testament to the power of innovation, networking, and the willingness to take risks. Bechtolsheim's quick bet became one of the greatest investments in history. His $100,000 check turned into billions, and his faith in Larry and Sergey was more than justified. Google now had the resources to hire, build infrastructure, and prepare for massive growth. They were no longer just a couple of guys with a great idea. They were a company with the means to make that idea a reality. The journey from porch demo to global giant began with that single check. It was a pivotal moment that set the stage for everything that followed. With momentum and money, Google was ready to take on the world. They had the vision, the talent, and now the financial backing to make a global impact. The next chapter was about to unfold. Google was poised to become a tech titan, and the world was about to witness the rise of a new kind of company. From backrub to a Menlo Park garage to a $100,000 check, Google's origin story is a testament to bold ideas and perfect timing. What started as a student project became a company that redefined how we access information. Google's mission expanded far beyond search, shaping everything from AI to self-driving cars. Its relentless focus on innovation and user experience changed the digital world. What's the most fascinating part of Google's beginnings? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this tech history deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.